I've got a problem. I think my Starlink has is fried. I think it's fried. I'm quite annoyed.
For those of you who aren't familiar with me, my name's Chris, and this is my self-converted ex-U-Haul box truck that I live and work out of.
I've been running my Starlink from this USB-C cable, power cable that I bought, the unofficial one, and I've been plugging it into my Bluetti power bank. And it's been working. Kind of. I noticed that it started dropping out. So it works for the most part, but then it would just randomly turn off. So I turned off the inbuilt router in the Starlink, thinking that was like drawing more power than it needed to, because I've got the Ethernet cable connected to the router in my truck. So I turned off the inbuilt router in the Starlink, and it was still powering. It was still just like randomly turned itself off. So I thought the power cable was 24 volts. And I was like, oh, maybe it's just not getting enough voltage from the Bluetti. And I plugged it into my USB-C outlet on my wall, which is 24 volt. Turns out that the power cable is 20 volts. And I guess that the USB-C power cable on the wall, because of the way it is, it doesn't do the little digital handshake that it would do with an adapter. And I think it just sent 24 volts straight through to the Starlink and fried it. I think it's fried the power circuit. I can't be 100% sure. That is what I'm thinking has happened, which I think has screwed me. Because it's an unofficial power cable, so it won't be covered by warranty. I can't imagine it'll be covered by warranty. This is all assumptions. The reason why I'm thinking this is because when I plug it back into Bluetti, it doesn't work anymore. The Bluetti is you can see it's drawing 0 power, which says to me that it's fucked. Which is, I'm very annoyed about. I'm very annoyed about it. So what I'm going to have to do tomorrow is I'm going to take the official power cable, take my ladder, I'm going to go up onto the roof, I'm going to unplug this USB-C one, I'm going to use the official power plug with the little adapter thingy on it, and plug it into my Bluetti to see if that works, just to see if it powers up at all, or if I can do a factory reset or whatever. And then after that, I'm just going to have to speak to Starlink support and see what they say. But I'm fairly certain they're just going to be like, hey, you're going to have to buy a new one, fuckhead. But I need to figure it out sooner rather than later, because the Starlink Mini at the moment is $300. I don't know when it's going to go back up to whatever it is, $500, $600. Okay, still Starlink Minis are $300 at Best Buy. Normally $500. The thing is, I mean, it could just be the cable. Could just be the cable. Okay, more investigation is needed for tomorrow. I will get on the roof and I'll check tomorrow. Fingers crossed. Good morning. My Starlink's working again. Don't know why. I plugged it into the Bluetti and it started up. Which is weird, considering that for 30 minutes I left it for 5 minutes, left it for 10 minutes, turned it back on last night. It's just kind of lost. It just wasn't turning on last night. So when stuff like this happens, I'm kind of not happy about it. I mean, I am happy that it works, but I always get at the back of my head that it means that it's probably going to happen again, but I just don't know why. Like, I still don't know the reason why it's going to happen. So it becomes a bit more unpredictable for me, which is the thing that I have at the back of my head. So I'm going to monitor it, obviously, for the rest of the, well, forever. I'm going to look more into what the power delivery is from my Bluetti. I'm not going to be plugging it into my 24-volt wall outlet, that's for sure. And if you're Starlink watching this, I never did it, and my Starlink is still under warranty. Okay? So I'm just going to monitor it, see what happens with it, and maybe I'm going to change the cable. I may swap it back to the official Starlink cable. So the cable that comes with the Starlink it's still DC, but it's a barrel connector. What I might do is I might use the official cable again, but the barrel connector for the official cable goes into a little AC adapter. What I might do is remove that AC adapter and create my own barrel connection and use the official cable. So it's more of a sort of semi-permanent. It can't stay like this anyway. It was never going to stay like this. It was just while I was figuring it out. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like things being unpredictable. If it just breaks, then at least in my head I'm like, okay, that's predictable. I know it broke because I fried it. But now I'm like, I didn't fry it, so what happened? That uncertainty is what gives me pause for thought. Like I said, I'm going to monitor it, see what happens, and take it from there. Man, weird. Very weird. Alright, kind of a mini update on the Starlink situation. Did some investigation. I obviously have done a little bit of shuffling with my setup. This is still temporary, but I'm figuring it out. So basically what I think could have been happening is my Bluetti was on eco mode, where it kind of cuts off if things drop below a certain wattage, or after a certain amount of time underneath a certain wattage or whatever. I don't know. So I've turned that off for a start. But there's also a bit of a weird problem, is that the output is not always displaying when it's got power draw. So when I just move this now and plugged it in to my router and my NAS, it wasn't showing anything on the screen, even though they were definitely powering on. They were definitely taking power from it. So I suspect that there's a problem with the display, which means that when my Starlink was plugged in, it may have been drawing power and it just not being displayed. Or maybe there was a problem with the output on the USB-C. I don't know. I'm still figuring it out, but I'm leaning now towards it being a Bluetti problem rather than a Starlink problem. I don't think I fried the power circuit plugging it into my 24-volt system, which is a good thing, because I definitely freaked out thinking that it was me. So I haven't got to the root of the problem yet, but either way, it kind of motivated me to rejig my setup a little bit to, put this power unit, put the backup power here. The reason why I've moved this, not only for the fact that the Starlink, plugs into this, but it kind of acts as like a UPS, if the AC cuts out, then my NAS and my router will still get power because it's being powered by the Bluetti. Same with my Starlink. If for whatever reason the AC power dips or cuts off or whatever it is, I can still run this. And even when I turn my inverter off at nighttime, this, in theory, I haven't tested it out, but in theory, this should power my Starlink, my NAS, and my router throughout the night, up to about 12 hours at a normal power draw before I turn my inverter on back in the morning. I turn my inverter off at nighttime because every 30 minutes it does like a really high fan speed. So I usually like to turn it off, which usually turns off my NAS and my router. Now I can turn off my inverter, and this backup battery can just power everything throughout the night. So in theory, this is a better setup. It's definitely not neat. There's cable management, and there's a lot that needs to be done to it. But we're going to see for now how it turns out, and we're going to keep an eye on it and see how it works. But if this kind of works, what I might do is I might invest in a bigger power station And that can be my little setup up here. I will keep you in the loop as I go. But I think that's it for now. For now, I'm clocking out.